Koyin as Shema B'Arvis. From when is read the Shema in the evening? Misha'a Shehakohanim Nichnasim La'echol B'Sumason. From the hour that the Kohanim, the priests, enter in to eat in their truma, ad soif hashmura harishona, until the end of the first watch. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. These are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. V'chachamim oimrim, and the wise sages have said, ad chatzos, until midnight. Rabban Gamliel Omer, Rabban Gamliel, the Rabbi Gamliel, he says, Ad sheya'ala amud hashachar, until it comes up the pillar of the morning. Ma'aseh shabo vanav mi beis hamishta, story that they came, his sons, from the party, the house of the party, they came back from a wedding. Amrulai, they said to him, Loi kurinu es Shema, we didn't read Shema. Amalahem, he said to them, Imlai Allah amod hashachar, if it didn't come up yet, the pillar of the morning, chayav anatim likrois, you are obligated to recite the Shema. And not only this, and not this alone, rather, all that they said, the sages, until midnight, its mitzvah is really until it comes up the pillar of the morning, which is after midnight, right? The burning up of the fats and the limbs. Its mitzvah is until it comes up the pillar of the morning. And anything which may be eaten one day alone. Its mitzvah is until the pillar of the morning comes up. If so, why did the sages say until chatzos? You can say Shema, right? Why only until chatzos? In order to distance a person from sin. So now I want to read it again. I'm going to just read it from the Talmud. I was reading this Mishna. I'm going to read the same exact Mishna. I'm just going to read it from the Talmud, and we're going to see that there's going to be a letter different. At least one letter different, I noticed, and I just want to point that out. So let's read the same exact Mishnah, the first Mishnah of all the Mishnah. Let's just read it from how the Talmud quotes it. So, same Mishnah. May Masai Kohen Shema Ba'aravin. From when can you read Shema in the evening? Now, in the Mishnah, it was Ba'arvit with a taf at the end. Here it's Ba'arvin with a nun at the end. Okay? So I just think that's interesting. I don't know why that is, and I think it might have to do with Aramaic versus Hebrew. I think Arvit would be Hebrew, Arvin would be Aramaic, okay? So Mishash, so from when can you read the Shema? We want to know you have to read Shema in the evening, okay? From when can you read it in the evening? Mishash HaKohanim Nichnasim Lachol B'Trumasan. From the time that the priests enter in to eat their truma. Atzoif HaShmor HaRishona, until the end of the first watch. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, these are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. The wise ones said until midnight. Rabban Gamliel Emer Achi Ala Amod HaShachar. Rabban Gamliel, he said until it comes up the pillar of the morning. Masa Uvalvanami Beis HaMishta. A story, and they came back his sons from a house of a feast. Amrullah, they said to him like Karina Shema. We didn't say Shemaya. He said to them, if it didn't come up pillar of the morning of dawn, you are obligated to recite the Shema. And not only this did he say, rather, everything that the sages said until Chatzos, every time they said, like we see in this Mishnah, we had the sages said to Chatzos, right? So anytime the sages said to Chatzos, mitzvah sanachi al shachar. The mitzvah really is until Amud shachar. Now, Hector, Chalavim, Vaivarim, this burning up, I think Hector is like a Torah, like burning up like an incense. So like the burning up of the Chalavim, the fats, Vaivarim, and the limbs, certain Chalavim, Vaivarim that you burnt up. Mitzvah sanat sheyal ad Amod HaShachar. It's mitzvahs until the Amod HaShachar, okay? V'chalim na'chalim li'amechvad, anything that can be eaten in one day. Mitzvah sanat sheyal Amod HaShachar. The mitzvah is until it comes up Amod HaShachar, the pillar of morning of dawn. If so, why did the sages say until Chatzos? Kidei laharchik adam min aver, to distance man from avera. Okay, let's read it one more time. Now, this time we're going to read it from the Talmud, but not from the Babylonian Talmud, from the Jerusalem Talmud. I didn't notice any differences, but let's see if we can. I don't know, maybe there is. Let's see. Anyways, it's good. Review is good. So it's good to read it the third time. Me'emasai, from when? Koirin is recited. S is going to be like untranslatable, maybe, or the. Shema. Shema. Okay? Shema. What's Shema? Shema is the hero of Israel, okay? Ba'aravin, in the evenings, okay? Misha, from the time, from the hour Shahakohanim, that the priest Nichnasim that enter, Loichel. Oh, so here we have a different word, Loichel. It's not Le'echol, it's Loichel. It's the same word, but it's without an aleph or something. It's not Le'echol, it's Loichel. Okay, before we had Le'echol, now it's Loichel. Bisru Masan, okay? At Soif Hashmua Harishona, until the so from when they come in to eat their tuma until the end of the first watch. Divrei Ribi Eliezer, so we have different nikudot. It's not Rebbe, it's Ribi. Okay. Okay, I'm just noticing slight nuance differences in the text. Okay. And right, the sages say until midnight. Rabbi Gamliel says until it comes up, the pillar of dawn, morning. Maaseh, also different nikudot or no? I don't know. Maaseh, Shabahu Vanav Mivesa Mishta, Amrulai, like Karina Shema. So story, they came back, his children, his sons, from the house of feast, and they said to him, we didn't say the Shema. Amar lahan, im le'olam v'da shachar chaven, atem l'krois. He said to them, if it didn't come up the pillar of dawn, you are obligated to recite the Shema. V'leizu b'vad. So I think in our previous text it said v'leizu b'vad amru. I'm not sure, maybe, possibly. V'leizu b'vad el kol ma shomu chachamim mar chatzos mitzvasan ad sheyal amod hashachar. And it's not this alone, rather anything which they sages said their mitzvah is until chatzos. They said until chatzos, its mitzvah is until it comes up the pillar of dawn. Hekter chalavim ve'evarim, the burning up of the fats in the limbs, and we have in brackets. Brackets we read, parentheses we usually don't. So bachilas psachim, and eating of the Pesach offering, the Passover offering. So this we didn't have in the previous two versions. Mitzvah san shachar. Its mitzvah is until comes up the pillar of dawn. Kol hanechalin liyom bechad, anything which is eaten for one day. Mitzvah san shachar. Its mitzvah is until it comes up the pillar of dawn. So why did the sages say until midnight? In order to distance a man from sin. Okay, so we read the first Mishnah of all Mishnah. We read it um we read it three times from three different places. We have the Mishnah, which we just I don't know where this how what edition, who's following. This is on Safari. I went to Mishnah. Then I went on Safari to Talmud Yerushalmi, and I got the same Mishnah. And then I went to Talmud Bavli, and I got the same Mishnah. Well, I did the opposite order, but yeah, I did all three. So, I mean, we can look at the Talmud, what this right here, I believe, is the Talmud uh Yerushalmi that we're in. This is usually the standard that you start with is Bavli, but we can see the Yerushalmi. What's the difference? Well, these sages were in Jerusalem, while other sages were in Babylon, in exile. So, okay, you see where it says halacha. This is where we're starting. Okay, halacha means what? Teaching, law, way. From whence we're quoting the Mishnah, right? From when can you recite the Shema Baravan in the evening? Anan Taninan, we taught, or we were taught, or we taught, from the hour, from the time that the priests would enter to eat their truma. Tani Rabbi Chia taught, Misha Shederech Bnei Adam, Nichnasim Lechol Piton B'Leilei Shabbos. So Rabbi Chia taught from the time that it was the way of people to enter in to eat their pita, their bread, on Leil Shabbat, on Friday night, Leil Shabbat. Isani Allah Kiroivin Divrehen Liyos Shavin. And it was taught about this teaching, maybe His words are close to being equal. I don't know what that means, okay? We have an English translation we could turn on. Isa chame misha shakanim michnasim lecha betumasan yumamahu bimkoch vayahu. All right, so let's get the English. Excuse me a second. Okay, we have stated their opinions are almost identical. Okay, fine. That's where we're up to. We didn't read the rest. Well, read it in English first. We'll read the Hebrew. It makes more sense. Comments you from the time that the priests enter Titer Truma is still daylight, and the stars start to appear from that time that the people enter their houses Friday evening to eat their meal, is 1 or 2 hours into the night. You want to say that the two opinions are almost identical? Rabbi Yossi said, explain it by people in hamlets who usually leave the roads when there still is some daylight because they're afraid of wild beasts. Okay, so let's see that inside. I don't know how to really translate word for word. That's why I went to the English, but I still don't know how to translate word for word, so we're just going to go with it. Bisani Allah, it was taught in it, Kroivin Devrain Liyashem. Their words are almost alike. These two opinions are almost alike. We had the opinion that when can you eat, when can you say Shema? We know it's from the time when they eat their truma, the priests, right? So we want to know what time is that. So Rabbi Chia said it's from the time that people come to eat their pita on Leil Shabbat. And we were taught it's similar timing, okay? And then we're gonna say what? It's similar timing. Isa chame misha shakanim nechnasim loichel b'trumasan yamamahu. Um, ve'im koich vayahu. I don't know. Something. One of them is the day time still when the Kohanim eat their eat their truma. It's still day, but this with the stars don't really understand. Bisha shederch bnei adam nechnasim lechal pitan b'leil Shabbat shav v'sarte leilahu. The time that they come to eat their pita with on Leil Shabbat, Shabbat Eve, Friday night, it's an hour to night. It is okay. And you want to tell me it's almost the same time? So Amar Rabbi Yossi, to answer this, Tiftar be'ilein kufranaya de kikaya darchehoin mistalika adahu yamama de tzadelain mikame chayusa. Okay, so again, what does that mean? When does one start to read the Shema in the evenings? We have stated from the time that the priests enter to eat their truma. Rabbi Hiya stated from the time that the people enter to eat their houses Friday evening to eat their meal. We have stated their opinions are almost identical. Come and see. From the time that the priests enter to eat their truma is still daylight and the stars start to appear. From the time that people enter their houses Friday evening to eat their meal is 1 or 2 hours later, is 1 or 2 hours into the night. You want to say that the two opinions are almost identical? Rabbi Yossi said, explain it by people in hamlets who usually leave the roads when there still is some daylight because they're afraid of wild beasts. Okay? So we read the first little bit in the Jerusalem Talmud on the first Mishnah, okay? So we're saying, okay, so we're establishing when is the time that you're allowed to read the Shema from the time when you can eat Truma, and that is the time. What I didn't even understand. Honestly, I'm lost. Like, why? So wait, where can I eat? Which is which time? So it's the same time you go to eat on Friday evening. If you're scared of animals and you go early, okay, apparently something like that. Okay, now you can know there's all sorts of commentaries just on the piece we learned before we even go any further. we wanted to, we can open up commentary. Who do we have here? We have. I'm not going to be so familiar with the commentaries that are on the Jerusalem Talmud. It's not a study that I've done. Okay, but we could just read all of them. I don't know. Maybe Sakari and Shema Ba'arvin. From when can you read Shema in the in the evening? It says so. This is the proper, the true uh version, because apparently there's other versions, editions. The Kachi Gersa Sarif, and it is the Gersa of the Rif. Shinim Shach B'Chol Makom, I think. Achar Nuscha Sarishalmi. Everywhere else he goes after the Nusach, the version of the Jerusalem Yerushalmi. She Nuscha Rishona, which was the first edition. Kasha Kiblu Mirabi, like we received it from Rabbi. The Kachatek Rush, and so too printed it the Rush. Okay. There's Tamaza, and there's a reason for that. Ubenun Pshuta, and it's with a nun Pshuta. What's a nun Pshuta? Nun is a letter. What's a Pasha? Like it's not the nun Sophie, or it is, or what's the nun Pshuta? What's he commenting? Koirin Eshema Arvin. Maybe it's like Koirin Eshema Arvin. So I think he's bothered because we have Korin Eshema Arvit in the Mishnah that I read before. That's what I told you, right? So he's bringing you different people that have this version with the nuns, which I think is Aramaic. Okay. Um. V'zeu Amram Tana Akrakai. תכסיב בשח בחוב כמאכל לפיכך פסח בארבן ברישה וביר דבר הזה אין כאן מקום. It's not the place to explain it here, but um he's basing it on a verse when he does the Mishnah is basing it on a verse that says when you go to sleep and when you wake up. So therefore, we're starting with the evening time. Okay, when from the time when the priests enter in. So it says in the Bavli in the other version of the Talmud from Babylon. Parach, I think we might be to like to ask a question. I don't know. Listening, yeah, Mishas Tesakachavim. Like you should have just said from the time that the stars come out. Why are you saying from when the priests can enter in and eat food, eat the truma? Teach, just say straight out from when the stars come out. So milsa agav orcha kumashmalan. The thing taught it by matter of fact. It was coming to teach us something matter of fact, etc. You can see there, right? It wanted by matter of fact to teach us that. Also, you can when can the priest see? It's when also by three stars. It wanted to teach two things at once. Keditanya, Uba Shemesh V'tiher, like it was taught. It says somewhere, there's a verse, I think, it says, Uba Shemesh, and the sun will come, V'tiher, and it will set, maybe, or go down, I don't know. But the sun will come and Tiher, it means to like go down. Bia Shimshai, Me'akvasai V'chulei, the coming of the sun, or the setting of the sun, one of Me'akvasai, it's I don't know, Me'akiv, it's, I don't know. וכולי, etc. Okay. ומאי דהי ובה שמש בי השמש והי vitar tir yoima. And how do you know that this, when it says uba hashemesh, it means like sunset or sunrise? V'hai vitar tir yoima. And this, when it says vitir, it means like the end of the day or the coming of the day, something like that. Not so familiar, I gotta look up the translation. Dilma bias, it's quoting from the Talmud there in the Babylonian Talmud. Dilma bias oirehu. Umay vitir tir gavra. Okay. What does it mean? Maybe the bia is talking about the not the coming of the shemesh of the sun, but rather of the light of the oira. It's light. And what's v'tir to tir gavra? And what became purified? Tirik is tahara, purified. What became purified? The man became purified. Okay, you have to read the passage there to really get what's going on. So shiur hashemesh. Okay, shiur hashemesh biyom hashmini. Vayitar ish atzmai. Sheyir Hashemesh b'yom hashmini, that the sun should shine on the eighth day. Vitar ishatzmoi, and the person should become purified himself. Be'avas karbanasav, but the bringing of his sacrifice. V'acher yarachel, and after he will eat. Amar Rabba bar Rav Shila, so Rabba bar Rav Shila said, Imkain lemakra. If so, say that the pasuk should say vi taher. My v'tiher tiher. It sounds like it's talking about the day. If it was talking about the person, we would have a yud there, not the tiher, but the taher. Okay. Zeo Gersus Rashi Zechron Levracha. This is the version of Rashi Vatoisvis and of Toisvis. The Hikshu al Perusha. It's asked on his explanation. Chada one the Imairi Bezricha Havalei Lemichtav Zarach Hashemesh. Who's talking about the shining of the sun? It should have said the shining of the sun. Vod Besamoch Kamibaile. And furthermore, close to it, it says hi, or we need it to say or something. Hi Uba Hashemesh. Ibias Oirehu V'chule. Pashit mi Braisa. Similar davar says like a chavim. If shoyt le mi misnis harib shim shoy oichel betuma. Lofikach perishoy the high crow. I don't know already. I'm lost already. Lost. I mean, I just want to read it though. Mi mai da high uba shemesh bi shemesh. Hu mamish hu mamish mai vitar tir yama. Da handelt says like a chavim. Duma bias oirehu. Da handelt tchilasa. של שקיעת החמה, והוא תחילת הכנסתו ברקיע, ועדיין יש שהות ביום 5 מילין עד 6 כוכבים, ומה ותיר גברא וכולי, עד כאן דבריו, end quote. Okay, so I don't know. This is just an example of this specific commentary. He's like going all into the sources, who has which version and in which edition, which is correct, the wording. And he talked about why it's night first, because the Bible does night first when it talks about the Shema, besides when it does creation, but also when it does the Shema, it says when you lie down or when you wake up. Okay, so now also he has something else here, different commentary. One the time when the called priests enter into Eter Tuma, the priests that were Shinitma'u, the Kohanim that were became Tameh, Vitavlu, and they were tovel in the mikvah. They immersed. Ein yocholin lechol betruma. They cannot eat. They have no. They are not able to eat in the truma. Ad sheya'ariv shimshon, until the sun sets. Their sun, that sun of that day sets. Okay. Fanu ad seisa kachavim. That is until the stars come out. V'hadulai katani mishas seisa kachavim. And this, which we didn't teach from the time when the stars come out, milsa agavorchek mashmalan. A matter of fact, we were coming to teach. Just by the way, an extra thing we got to teach along the way. That if the priest got contaminated with this tumah, this filth, this contamination, whatever, carbon, that its purification is dependent on its sacrifice. Like what? Going, for example, zav, umitzara, these two kinds of contaminations. En kaparasan ma'akfan milechol betruma, their kapara, their atonement, I think, which is their korban, the sacrifice, I think, it doesn't prevent them from eating in truma. Dichsev uba'ashemesh v'tihar, because it says, and the sun will come and they'll be purified. V'achar yachol min ha'kedashim, and after he'll eat from the holy foods, from the holy ones. U'moikminan what? Beparak ha'aral, and we established in the chapter of ha'aral, the high crab betruma ari, that verse is talking about truma. V'darshinan bias shem shem akvasa melecho betruma, and we expound there that the coming of the sun prevents him from eating truma. V'en kaparase ma'akvasa melecho betruma, but his atonement, his sacrifice, doesn't prevent him from eating the truma. Okay, and even though that we taught this explicitly in chapter 14 of Negaim Ha'erev, Shimshoy, I'm sorry, that Negaim, I don't know what that is. Negaim touched, I don't know, but the sunset they can eat at the Truma. It's the way of the teaching, the teacher, the Tana, to teach it, make it heard in short, Biktsara. Even what was explained explicitly somewhere else, it's the way to teach it shortly. So even if there's other things we could have said to make it more explicitly, in general, even if it's taught somewhere else explicitly, we try to keep it short. Okay, until the end of the first watch. Okay, Zeu shlisha rishon shalayla. That's the first third of the night. Shalayla nechleka l'shlisha mishmaris. The night is split into three watchings. Okay, three shifts. Mikan ve'elech loy mikri suzman kriyishma deshchiva. And from here on, it's not called the time of kriyishma of laying down. V'loy krinan be b'shach b'cha. And you can't read in it when you lay down. It's not appropriate to say when you're lying down. It's not at that time anymore. After the first third of the night. Umakmi tsesak achavim nami loy de achsi babahu live zbad shchiva. And before the stars come out is also not because it's still day and it's not the time of laying down. Okay, until is it comes up amod shachar the chol alayla mikri zman shchiva because the whole night is called the time of laying down. V'halcha v'halacha Rabbi Gamliel. The law follows Rabbi Gamliel that said you have really until the Murashachar. Okay, the Fisha Ledina Gam lechacham emaydele because according to the law, really the sages also admit to him. V'lay amru chacham emayd chatzos ala kedei larchik al sadam min avera. Like we said earlier, the only reason why they said until midnight is because they didn't want you to miss it. So they said do it by midnight, but really you have until the dawn. Umio lechatchila, however, ideally mishagia Ornas Kriya Shema Shal Arvis, from when it reaches the time of saying Shema of evening, Asr Adam Lisoid, it's forbidden to have a satisfaction. It means a meal. Lisoid is to satisfy, but Suda is a meal. So you can't have this meal like a real meal. Maybe a snack might be different, but you can't have a meal. The Chol Sheken Lisha, and for sure you can't sleep. Ad Shekar Kriya Shema V'Yispal, until he reads the Kriya Shema and he prays. Okay? So we had a story when they came home, his children from the Beis Hamishta. Bnei Rabban Gamliel Sheme in Yahoy Sham Inu LeRabban de Imri Damri Achatzais. They said we heard that the rabbi said we have until midnight. Veha Koshile Hada Amri Rabbanan Al Chatzais. I think this is what that means, that it was difficult to them, that which the sages said until Chatzais Dafka Kamri Chatzais Dafka Kamri Visu Loi, and you can't say it after midnight. And they're arguing on you, our father Rabban Gamliel, because you're saying you have until the morning. And if it's an individual against the mass, like of the many, the law follows the many. So Oidelma, or maybe you're going to say Rabbanan Kivasech Svirlu, who really the sages held like you. The Hadamri Achatzais Lisayagu Dekamri. But maybe that's what they said until midnight is just to make a fence. Amar Lahu Ein Rabbanan Kavasi Svirle. Oh, in. And he said to them, in, yes. So ain in Hebrew is no, but in Aramaic, in is yes. Interesting. So in, yes. Rabbanan kavasi svirle. The rabbis, like me, they believe, they hold. Mishum sayaraku dekamri, and was because of offense this that they said, v'chayvim atam l'krais, and you are obligated to recite it even after midnight until the dawn. V'leizu bolvad. Kula milsa de Rabban Gamliel he de Amar levanav. This is all part of the story of when we talked about the fats and all this is still part of the story of Rabban Gamliel to his children. Okay, Hektar chelavim shel kol karbonos, the sacrificing of the fats of each and every sacrifice, the burning of those fats, vevarim and the limbs, shel olas tamid of the elevated constant offering, shel ben arbaim of the afternoon or between the evenings or something. Fuadin, and so too is this law, lechol evari ha'oila, to all the limbs of the elevated offerings, shenizrak daman biyam, that their blood is spilled during the day. Okay, mitzvah and lehalois kol halayla. Its mitzvah is to elevate all the night. Chsiv he ha'oila al maikta al hamizbeach kol halayla ad habayker, because it says in the verse, it is the elevated offering in its maikta, in its something mokade, in its station or something. I don't know, in its mission, in its moked on the mizbeach, on the altar, all the night until the morning. Okay, anything that could be eaten for one day, like a toda, going toda, like a Thanksgiving offering, the chatas, the asham, and guilt and sin offerings, similar to them. Shayna chalm liyom vilayla, because they are eaten for a day and a night. You have to eat them. Zman achilasan, the time of they're eating, ad sheyala amar shachar, until it comes up the morning dawn. Okay, the pillar. V'hu amevi lidei noiser, and then it becomes leftovers, and you have to, I don't know, burn it, or I don't know what you do with it, but you can't eat it. So why did they say until chatzos in all these cases? So that a person shouldn't sin and come to eat these things after the morning, the dawn, when it's forbidden. And he'll be obligated on koris. He'll be excised, or whatever it's called, cut off from the Jewish nation, from Hashem, cut off from I don't know what. וכן להקטיר החלבים אחר כך, and so too to burn the fats after this time. והן כבר נפסלו, they're already possible, they're already invalid. Belina, because they were left overnight. אם היו למטה מן המזבח, if they were underneath from the altar. Lafuke, except אם היו על המזבח, unless they were on the mizbeach. אין lina ma'eles, bereishim mizbeach, because there's no leftover overnight on the head of it, doesn't elevate on the, or go up on the head of the altar. L'chad man the Amar beparak test Zvachim, according to one opinion in the chapter 9 of Tractate Zvachim. And so too with Kriya Shema, the mitzvah of saying Shema. Shalai Amar Adayin Yesh Li Shahos Likrois, that I still have time. This person shouldn't say, I still have time to say Shema. Meanwhile, he's going to pass the time to say Shema. So they said, no, you have until midnight, and that's it. Alrighty.